Okay, I think we're live. We are live. Okay, right.
And it's not getting our video. How about I just go on my phone?
Right, okay. Horror. Right, do you want to do a horror or try and slash?
We should also do some gaming, of course.
Gaming. Wait, okay.
Yeah, look. What's the phone? I can't see it actually. It looks like it's like black. A phone case. Like, look, doesn't it just look black?
It looked black when I looked at it earlier.
Then when I put it up,
Filmed.
it looks like red. Yeah, it looks black, but it looks like something. What is that, my guy? What is that?
What is this? Most disturbing footage caught on camera iceberg.
But, oh, it looks scary.
You horrible man. I beg the court to let me go home where I can be protected by my...
These are some of the most disturbing and gut-wrenching POV clips ever caught on camera. I've personally searched through countless videos to try and bring you only the most intense and unfiltered moments. Some of these are so extreme that they've been wiped from the internet, so as always, viewer discretion is highly advised. Level 1. Man discovers lost GoPro. In July 2019, YouTuber Rich Aloha was scuba diving in Foster Falls State Park, Tennessee, when he made a shocking discovery. He had been hunting for treasure, but found nothing more than a GoPro camera buried in the mud at the bottom of a lake near a waterfall. It turned out that the GoPro belonged to Richard Ragland, a 22-year-old man who had tragically drowned at the same location 2 years earlier in 2017. He was spending the day with friends, swimming near the waterfall when he went underwater and never came back up, just days before his 23rd birthday. But what made this discovery so incredible was that the SD card inside the camera was still intact and functional despite being submerged for a full 2 years. When he checked it, Rich discovered that the footage on the card captured Ragland's final moments, showing him smiling, swimming, and enjoying his day with friends. At the time, Rich had no idea who the man on the tape was, but he soon remembered that he had been told all about Ragland's death by park rangers. This was likely the young man's lost camera. Determined to do the right thing, Aloha spent hours researching online to find a way to contact Ragland's family. Eventually, Aloha succeeded in reaching out to Ragland's parents, Robin and Gary McCreer, who were overwhelmed by the news. They had previously been sent a thumb drive by park rangers containing some of the final footage of their son, but it had apparently been stolen in transit, meaning they never got any closure on his death. Aloha eventually met with the McCreers to return the GoPro and its contents, making for an emotional moment. The family was grateful for the opportunity to see their son living life to the fullest in his final hours. Robin McCreer expressed her appreciation for Aloha's efforts, saying that his persistence in contacting them means the world to us. Aloha, who considered his diving adventures a form of ministry, felt that he was divinely led to this discovery. He described the experience as indescribable and stated that he doesn't think there's ever been a more impactful find. Exploration of the Bohemian Grove. YouTuber Dancer1 conducted a daring investigation into the secretive Bohemian Grove, a private 2,700-acre campground in Monte Rio, California, owned by the elite Bohemian Club. Well, at least that's what we know to be true. For years, the Bohemian Grove has been the focus of conspiracy theories due to its highly exclusive nature and elite membership. Very few people are allowed to join, and those that do are rarely ever heard from again. That tight-knit secrecy has led to a host of claims of satanic rituals and allegations of youth abuse, which have surrounded the club for as long as it's existed. But Dancer1 wanted to know for sure. He waited until the off-season when it was colder and fewer members would be visiting the campground. Using a kayak, he carefully crossed the Russian River and entered the property undetected. After navigating the dense trees and the uneven, steep terrain, he eventually reached the heart of the campground, only to find it was far, far more unsettling than even he expected. Right before him, he saw the infamous 40-foot owl statue, which serves as the centerpiece for the club's annual cremation of care.
See, there's no echo. You see, there's no echo. It's fine.
Which serves as the centerpiece for the club's annual
There is an echo.
No, there's no echo.
Go back.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, of course, it's going through the screen over again, over again, over again. You know how it is. Yeah, it's fine.
Ritual. A slightly unsettling annual tradition that nobody gets to see. But the further into the grounds he got, the more and more surveillance Dancer One saw. Video cameras and security guards everywhere, and that was just what he could see. There could be motion-activated sensors anywhere, and the consequences of breaking into the world's most secure cult could be deadly. So he left. But Dancer One's investigation didn't stop with this initial foray. He claimed to have returned to Bohemian Grove multiple times, including during the annual July encampment when the cremation of care ritual takes place. He says that he even witnessed part of the ritual, describing the sight of a person covered in cloth being carried and placed in a boat, suggesting a mock sacrifice of some kind. But the truth is that nobody has any idea what takes place in Bohemian Grove behind closed doors. And Dancer One's investigation suggests we don't want to. Level 2. Westinghouse Electricity Factory. In the heart of Cleveland, Ohio, stood the once mighty Westinghouse Electric Factory, a testament to America's industrial prowess. This colossal facility, which had churned out everything from metal casings to lighting equipment, was once among the largest factories in the United States. But in 1979, the production lines fell silent and the factory doors closed for good, leaving behind a giant shell of its former glory. Chris Hill, also known as Urbex Hill, set his sights on uncovering the secrets that lay within the abandoned walls of the factory. He wanted to discover the remnants from the factory's heyday, frozen in time for over 4 decades. But before he even got into the building, Chris got an ominous sign. The sound of gunfire, a shootout not far from their location.
Yeah, somebody's shooting. Damn. That's Cleveland. Wow. That's crazy. It's not even that far away from here. Oh shit, that sounds like a shootout.
But it wasn't enough to stop him. He wanted to see inside the factory. The factory itself was nothing special, just an abandoned building left to decay. But when they went into the basement, everything got much more real. The place looked like a war zone, dripping with water and broken down. That's when the noises began.
What if the flashlight loses battery?
Okay, I'm hearing something. Maybe it's an animal. I'm sure there's animals down here.
Strange noises echoed through the basement, which Urbex Hill assumed, or hoped, was some kind of an animal, like a stray dog. Of course, if they did encounter a stray dog in this basement, escaping would be a serious challenge. But as if all of this wasn't intense enough, Urbex's light started to switch off right as those unsettling noises began again. It was horrible timing, but the bizarre and unknown noise just made them want to venture deeper and find out what it was. They found a strange man crouched in the corner, shirtless and staring at the wall, not moving. He was clearly homeless, possibly high on some kind of drug, but suddenly the noises made sense. It turns out that the basement was home to a homeless encampment, a large-scale resting place for people who have nowhere else to turn. But that was enough to make Urbex say it was time to leave, if they could still find the exit. The dog's GoPro captures strange sounds in Michigan forest. A man and his dog were hiking through the Huron National Forest in Michigan. The man had fixed a GoPro to the dog, hoping to get some cool and unique footage from his pup's POV. The man had a history of hunting for Bigfoot, always hoping that he would one day get the legendary creature on camera. So far, he had been unsuccessful. But the man never once gave up hope. This could be the day. But he couldn't have anticipated he would get something far, far stranger. As the dog fished around the forest looking for something fun and interesting to play with, a bizarre sound rang out across the woodland. A strange shriek, inhuman and frankly unsettling.
Hold it. Hold it.
Oh, it is over there.
It sounded nothing like any other known animal sound in the world, something more demonic and screeching. The dog heard it right away, and the man soon heard it afterwards, but he had no clue what the animal could possibly have been. The noise just got louder and louder, and more intense to boot. As the dog started going toward it, the man decided that they had to leave. It was too dangerous to go and chase the sound of an animal they had never heard before. When the video was eventually uploaded, the man's followers identified the sound as an Aztec death whistle, a bizarre and sinister old whistle once used by the Aztecs for sacrificial purposes. It emits a sinister, haunting, and frankly terrifying screeching sound, exactly like the one the man and his dog heard. But whether this was all one big prank,
I heard call. It's like it's the same call sound I have. I think it's Japan's. You can have.
Well, who would be calling them?
I don't know. Work maybe.
or something more sinister and intense? We're still not clear on that. Daniel O'Neill's camping encounter. In 2023, Daniel O'Neill, the creator behind the YouTube channel English Woodsman, was making what he thought would be a pretty typical camping video. He had ventured into an area he was not super familiar with, that he had never really visited before, hoping for a totally different kind of video. Daniel had specifically chosen his location to be far from the nearby cows, right in the middle of the woodland for some peace and quiet. But as he set up all of his recording equipment, he started to feel unsettled by something he had heard.
Hello. Hello? You got a bit of that. There's nobody here. I'm going to put it down, there could just be something behind me here. But it sounded like human footsteps.
While he was walking, he heard a strange noise, what seemed to be human footsteps beside him. But he was all on his own, and if there had been someone walking near him, he would have been aware of it. The overthinking was bothering him. He couldn't spend an entire video obsessing about it. The noises didn't stop, not for a second. After his tent was set up and he was inside, he suddenly heard another mysterious sound outside. What seemed to be someone walking past his tent. He dismissed it again, convinced that he was now just hearing what he wanted to hear. But when he played back the recording, he confirmed that the sound was real. Yet, nobody was in the area. By this point, his anxiety was rapidly increasing, noticing more and more bizarre noises outside of his tent. But every time he checked, he saw nobody nearby. And the sounds picked up on the recordings seemed impossible. Dry footsteps, despite the wet, muddy conditions. No matter how much he convinced himself that he was just hearing things or making it up, Daniel kept hearing the noises. He knew he had to find another spot to camp outside of the woods. He later described the noises that he had heard as being animal-like, but impossible to describe in any more specific way. All he knew was that he had to get out of there as quickly as possible. He would never come to know what the noise was. Level 3. Fake cop traffic stop. It was just after midnight on a September night in 2019, and an Albuquerque Police Department officer was driving home when he noticed what seemed to be a traffic officer conducting a stop near 4th Street and I-40. The traffic cop had pulled over an SUV and was in the process of interrogating the driver. Something about it rang strange to the APD officer. For one thing, the traffic stop officer wasn't driving a regulation vehicle. He was driving a civilian car with red and blue flashing lights. For another, he was wearing plain clothes with nothing even remotely police-like other than a strange star-shaped badge on his belt. And the biggest and strangest issue of all, he just happened to look very young. The APD officer decided to approach the traffic cop and get some answers, believing that he would have identification that could clear the whole thing up. The traffic officer introduced himself as Brendan Wazinski, a cop that had worked for the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office for 3 years. He had stopped the SUV for allegedly traveling at 120 miles per hour on the highway, but something was still really, really off. And the more that he questioned Officer Wazinski, the more that feeling continued to grow. Officer Wazinski couldn't produce proper identification. His birth year, 1994, didn't match the registration of his vehicle, suggesting that...
Oh yeah, we should do Amigo.
Amigo. You know what? Yeah, let's do Amigo. It's weird, bro. Video is monetized. Keep it clean. No, your video is monetized. Keep it clean.
Oh yeah, we can only do. We have to be 18 years old. Oh well, doesn't matter. You got 2 different accounts.
Wait.
What?
I'm going high screen.
Oh yeah, you got hide screen.
Yeah, I'm not leaking anything, bro.
I do. They can see your face cam, but
Yeah, I'm gonna leak it through the face like that.
oh,
Do you chew so loud with chewing gum?
Yeah, I do. Boy. Yes, bro. These W guys, bro. W guys. They don't say, "Oh, another gender." You actually a boy. Here we go. Good.
Oh, we can't use it because we're streaming, aren't we? Do you think?
Oh, we can. Like actual speed, it doesn't make go on while streaming.
No, we have to switch to the Eagle screen, don't we? Let's just hide that camera. Turn this one on.
Oh yeah.
And then it'll be on here, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not showing us.
We got the screen.
It's not showing.
Guys and girls, right? So, how do you start?
Bro. Bro, stop shooting so loud, man.
Sorry.
Where's that? Bro.
Oh, start match, maybe.
Yeah, I pressed that.
And you sort of enable camera and microphone.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, look. Wait, go back. What's that? Camera. Look, I think it's in. Wait, no, that's for this. It's just on. Let's just see. And then try.
No, because that needs to be off.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, so good. What the hell? Wait, free match. Wait, this is dating.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure.
Let's just throw.
Nah, come on. Okay, later.
Hard, bro.
Streaming current bitrate. Oh, I think that's bad. Over the recommended.
Okay, alright, so I'm back on them. Bruh. Do you want to end stream?
Let's do at least one thing. Could do try not to laugh or horror.
I'm feeling late.
We'll stay up all night though. Oh, Kieran. Yo, Kieran, say something in the chat if you're still watching. Damn, it's like 20 seconds. No, it's 30 seconds, mate.
Well, yeah, that's what the stream's like. Oh, there's two of you.
Oh no, it's just me. But
Is it?
yeah, it's just end stream.
Alright, yeah, I'm getting a new camera and mic, so video's gonna be better. So